Hello, everyone. I was talking to my friend today about self-care, and it made me want to record a little video on self-care because it's something that we are not doing that well. And so I want to talk about two things actually, because I think these really play in together and we're not talking about them enough. Self-care and community care. And we got to kind of start putting a little bit more emphasis on community care in the context of self-care. And so when I say that, and I haven't thought of it like this before, but I'm going to share these stories, and these are like two very different stories, and and they're like kind of like what's on my mind this week. And then actually I feel like it fits into how we're doing things as a society, and how just like everything, if we continue to try to do everything on our own in isolation, like that's like me buying myself a massage. It's good, but like I have to pay for it. I have to work and make the money to pay for it. It's actually not that great. It's just shifting energy. Whereas if someone else bought me a massage, it feels so different. And so it's like we just keep, women especially, we keep taking from our time and energy to then take care of ourselves. And we need a little bit more partnership in our care. And when I say partnership, I mean from our partners, but also from each other. And I think what I've seen, at least with women, is we're not taking care of each other enough. And then we're not getting taken care of. And then so we try to fill that gap by taking care of ourselves more. And then we feel guilty because we don't have time to do everything. And can we just start like seeing self-care and community care as kind of like a bicycle, that those two pedals go together to get us further, versus us standing in place where being the martyr, where we're only doing community care, or being kind of like in the burnout zone of always being responsible for our own self-care. We need to start looking at this as like a both and situation. So here are the two stories. I'm driving home. Trust me, I'm not trying to be a saint here, because you'll see in the second story that is not how it always goes. So I was driving home from a massage on Tuesday, funny enough, and I was so zen, and I see a kid lying on the sidewalk, and I'm like, and there was another grown up around, so I'm like, okay, they'll handle it. And then they walked the other way, so I'm like, I am the grown up who has to handle it. So I turn my car around and I like yell out my window, like, hey guys, are you okay? What's going on? And they're like, no, our brother broke his arm. So this kid lying on the ground with a broken arm, like clearly broken. And he's like in so much pain. And then the sister is on the phone to his dad. And I said, let me talk to your dad. And I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm a grown up in the neighborhood. Like, your son broke his arm. Like, and the dad's like, well, I'm in the middle of this appointment getting my blood drawn. So he's like in the middle of getting his blood drawn. The mom was taking care of the grandma. And so like no one was right there for the kids. And so I was like, I actually did have time. I was like, I can drive him to urgent care. Like, if you want me to drive him to urgent care, I'm happy to drive him to urgent care, and you guys can meet me there. And if you like text your daughter the insurance card, I can like get him going with that process. So anyway, I like took him to, I just like helped. And it felt good because I had the time, I had the energy. It was an intense situation, but I was like, there was a gap that needed to be filled, and I was able to step in and fill that gap and kind of take care of the situation, because it was just like a bunch of friends hanging out, so they didn't know what to do. And so there's that one example of like, I stepped in, I helped, they came appropriately, like nothing was inappropriate. It just was like bad timing for them for this emergency to happen. And actually good timing for me, because like I said, I actually did have time in my schedule, luckily, to step in and help. Like, okay, then fast forward a couple of days. So I'm feeling good. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're part of this community, like kumbaya, we can all take care of each other. I love this vibe. And then flash forward to yesterday, and my daughter had been throwing up and she was sick, and my husband was working, I was home, and I needed to run in and get my son from camp. I didn't want to bring my daughter in because I didn't want to worry about getting germs everywhere. So I rolled the windows down, had the kids were in the car, and I was watching from it was like I could see from the doorway the car, but I just didn't want them to like get anyone sick inside. There was a mom there that knows my kids in the car, called the police. And when I came out, because I'm watching her doing this. Like I should have just come out, but I was waiting for my son, and I'm like, so it wasn't even like I didn't see the kids. Like I'm watching her standing there. I'm knowing like, okay, there's gonna be a problem. A girl comes in, she's like, my mom's calling the police because there's girls in the car. Like I'm standing there as this daughter comes in, and I run out. I'm like, don't call the police. I'm right here. I was just getting my son from camp. And the mom proceeded to tell me what a terrible mother I was. She stayed on the phone with the police, gave them my license plate number, like was literally citizens arresting me. And it just made me feel so depressed for the state of the world, because I'm like, this is why we're burning out. And this is why we need so much care. Like we have to take care of each other. Like there's reasons I made this choice. I'm watching my kids. Like I said, I was aware of the whole scene outside because I was watching it. Like I didn't just go in and work out at the gym. I was literally just picking my son up to bring back to the car. So I'm watching the scene, but I'm like, here my daughter's sick. My husband has to work. I'm doing the best I can. And then to feel like no one has your back, and then not only that, they're critiquing you, is like such a terrible feeling, and is such like a hurtful place where you feel like the people that could help you are turning against you. And I remember that from a class, they were saying like, if a parent is yelling at their kid, again, our ego wants to yell at the parent. What a terrible mom you are. I can't believe you're yelling at your kids. Stop. And actually what studies have shown is that the answer is join with that parent, support them, lift them up so that they can regulate. We've talked about this in other episodes, how we've regulated. So some of you might come alongside the parent and be like, I know it's so hard. It can be really hard to be a parent. Like, I totally get it. You know, do you need me to hold her hand? Or I've seen it before where I'm leaving daycare and one family was really struggling to get the boys in the car seat. And the mom was getting frustrated. She wasn't at all being abusive, but you could just see her getting frustrated. And I went in my car, grabbed the goldfish. I'm like, can I give you some goldfish? I'm like, hey, you sit down. I'll give you some goldfish. Sit down and buckle up. I'll give you the goldfish. It's like, oh, I have the resources in this moment. Let me help someone who doesn't. And vice versa. When I don't have the resources, it's really nice to have someone come alongside me and help me. And so I think we have to take ourselves out of these very like solo containers where we're trying to do all of it ourselves and start giving to our communities and receiving from our community, and start really looking around. How can I help someone? And then starting to, when people offer to help, be willing to accept the help, because self-care in isolation is not the solution. And it is part of the solution. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to take those moments. But I think a lot of women feel guilty about self-care because, at least for me, sometimes I feel like I have to take a stand to get the time. I have to take from someone to get the time. And it feels so good to be given the time. So I say that if you see your partner stressed, offer the help, offer the time, offer the solution, come alongside of them. And women, where you're feeling alone, yeah, you can fix that on your own, but ask, is there a place that someone can come alongside of me? And even saying that, like, I need to restructure my schedule so that I have a little bit of time for myself. Let me partner with people I work with. Let me partner with the people in my life to get this schedule flowing in the right way. Let me partner. I recently realized one of my self-care things is I need a better nanny. Like I've been kind of piecing things together with after school and with my own self, and it's just burning me out. I talked to my husband. I'm like, I think we need an au pair. We've had an au pair before. We need an au pair again. He's like, great. Love that. Perfect. Okay. But the reason we need an au pair is because his job is nights and weekends. He supports the au pair because he doesn't want to die. He doesn't want me to kill him for not getting me the help I need. But then I'm the one finding the au pair. So it's like, this is what we're talking about. I'm trying to generate my own help. So I'm depleting myself to get the help I need. And I'm getting burnt out in the process of finding the help that he actually needs to cover the gap that his job has created. And so it was like this aha moment this morning of, again, oftentimes taking care of myself is, how can someone come alongside me? How can I get some extra support? How can I not try to do it all? And so I said to him, I'm like, hey, I have some interviews set up. Like, I've done a bunch of interviews this week. Any second interview is great. We can do those. But I said, next week, I'm turning this over to you. And for the next week, I need you to interview some people and you to take a little bit of charge and you to show me who you think's good. I'm not saying either one of us should hire someone, but like, there's kind of that first call screening process. It's like, oh, you can do the screening process too. But I just automatically stepped into that position and I automatically took it on. And then I burnt myself out because I didn't have enough support. So then I burnt myself out trying to get support. That is crazy. Okay. I'm totally borrowing this from Dave Ramsey, but I feel like this is such a powerful illumination of this point I'm trying to make, that while self-care is good, anything we do in isolation is less effective than what we can do in partnership with others. So one horse alone, a draft horse, can pull 8,000 pounds. So you would think if you hook up 2 horses to pull weight, you would get 16,000 pounds because that's what each horse can pull. But actually, when we hook 2 draft horses together, they can pull between 24 to 32,000 pounds. And that is the benefit of partnership. And that is why we need partnership. And I'm not promoting marriage as the only partnership. I think in your marriages, if y'all are constantly each pulling your own load, you're way missing the capacity that y'all have to pull together. So you should look at that. But I'm talking about in our friendships, in our work relationships, in our support around the house. Like, where can you join and partner to get more done than continuing to try to do it on your own? And so we want to look at those spaces. Where am I pulling the load on my own? And where could I bring in someone to help me pull this load? And that is such a mind shift for us, because what happens in the US is, if I have a problem, it's my job to handle that problem. It's my responsibility. I need to figure this out on my own. I shouldn't burden anyone else with this. And that, it kind of jams us up because, again, we're left whatever we had that started the problem then often continues the problem, because I don't often have a lot of extra to give. Versus, can I look where someone does have the bandwidth to give, and how can I partner with that person that has the bandwidth to give, so that we can move things forward together. I mean, we're just living in a society that really values independence and your ability to do things on your own, and also our ego. I think our ego really loves this because it's my achievement. It's my doing. It's mine. And so it's very like an ego space of living too, where it's like, I'm the one. And it kind of plays into this feeling of like, you don't be harsh, but it's like self-importance. Like, there's a lot of things that I hold on to in my life because I want the credit for them. And we're raised in a system where we really value individual contributions and give individual credit. A society like Japan, you aren't supposed to have individual credit. You're supposed to support the group. So that mindset around this is different. Well, like often, yeah, in all of our relationships, often we're keeping them a little more superficial than helpful. And we got to figure out how to make our relationships more helpful than superficial. So I'll tell people, like, I don't want to clean my house. I have trouble doing laundry. Could you have a friend come sit in the room and chat while you're doing laundry? Can you run errands with someone? In other cultures, running errands together is like such a normal thing. And here we would never think to spend our time running errands with a friend and with our spouse, to say like, how do we really actually partner to get something accomplished versus you take this task, I take that task. It's like the divide and conquer approach, which I'm guilty of in my own marriage. But the divide and conquer approach is an amazing way to set yourself up for divorce, because you're so used to doing things on your own that then you're kind of like, well, wait, why do I need you? And a study showed that now more than ever, couples are spending time apart. Like, this is, of all the history of the data they have, we are actually in a moment where couples are spending more time apart than ever before. And again, divorce rates are higher than ever before. And you know what? The craziest part is, divorces right now are being initiated 2/3 by women. And because in my theory is, when we put that data together, and again, this is just a theory, but it's women, we don't want to do stuff on our own all the time. that's not the goal. And so it's kind of like, well, if I'm doing stuff on my own, I'd rather not even do this. Like, I don't want to be left to my own devices. And so in marriages, or people being left to their own devices, it just leaves us wide open because we're already separating, and we need to find ways. These are the levels of conversations we should be having. Is, where are you feeling alone? Where are you feeling like you're not supported enough? And this is a conversation that you can have, and you don't have to be the solution. Like, I think sometimes we're scared to have conversations because we don't have the bandwidth or we don't know the answer. But what a loving conversation to be like, hey, reflect on your week for a minute. Like, where are you getting enough support? And you might be like, with me, like, I'm not getting enough support after school. And he might be like, I can't because of my job, but we can get you that support you need. Like, the answer doesn't have to be the other person, but we want to combine with the other person to come up with the answer and not feel alone in our burdens. And I feel like now more than ever, we're being left alone to carry the weight of our own loads. And really, there's a missed opportunity here to start re-engage, helping each other carry their load. There has been a void that we need to start filling and start figuring out, how do we come together as a community again. I want to pop in here with a loving PSA to married couples. Right now, and what I'm seeing in my office, what I'm seeing in my life, and what other relationship experts are talking about, the skills that used to work in marriages are not working anymore. It's like kind of like a high school education used to be able to get you a good job. Now you need a college education or some sort of advanced degree. The same thing's happening with relationships. There used to be, I'm there for you, I show up, I'm consistent, we're good. That's all we need. And in 2025, we're needing more. Relationships are needing more, women are needing more, partners are needing to give more than ever. And so I just want to let everyone know and remind everyone, an advanced degree is now required to have a healthy, successful relationship. You can do that in a number of ways. You can listen to podcasts about relationships. You can listen to relationship specialists you like. You can talk to people who have successful relationships and learn how to upgrade your relationship. You can go to couples therapy together. I'm not prescribing one way, but I do want you to remember that if you're not going beyond what you learned in childhood of how to have a healthy relationship, you do not have the requirements you need to maintain and create a healthy relationship in this environment. So all of us need to be really committed to up leveling whatever we were taught into something bigger, something better, and something more informed than how we were raised. And I'm not saying this to bash our parents, to bash the people we were raised around. I'm saying that things have shifted, and I'm seeing a lot of people trying to use unskilled techniques to continue to have healthy relationships, and it's just not going to work anymore. Women come to me when they're feeling like they're at the end of their ropes. They've tried everything they can think to try. They've talked to friends. They've done self-help books. They've listened to the podcast, and they feel like whatever's going on, whether it's trying to heal from a relationship that was unhealthy, or whether it's trying to figure out what to do in their current relationship, feeling stuck in their life. Women come to me when they feel like they don't have anywhere else to go and they need that extra level of guidance and support. Couples finally have breakthroughs when each person's willing to let go of whatever they think the truth is and actually listen to what their partner's truth is. And I think so often we're so busy trying to convince someone of the truth that we don't listen to their truth. And I find like the biggest breakthroughs in couples, when they can just hear each other and be there with each other, is such a tender, impactful moment. And again, I think couples get afraid that they don't have the ability to fix things, that the problems are too big, that they'd rather not look at them, that they don't, it's almost like we don't want to know how our partner's feeling or the depth of their emotion because it'll be too big and too much. And what I find is that when people can just be with their partner in those moments, that's often enough. Like, we don't have to do more sometimes than simply acknowledge and be and listen and hear. And when we can actually be in that space, then we can shift the dynamic of the discussion or of the stuck place that we've been. I think the biggest thing I've learned from couples work is that there's a lot of emphasis placed on the problem, the issue, what's going wrong. And I feel like what's often missed in just focusing on the problem is in a lot of our relationships right now, what's lacking is the positive rituals we have that are kind of holding our relationships in a good place. And I think I'm just seeing more and more how most of us don't have enough positive rituals. And then we really focus on the issues, but we're not focused on, are we spending enough time together? Are we connecting? Are we on the same page? Are we working together? Are we working in unison, or are we working separate? And I think that kind of gets overlooked as like, yeah, but like, what about this big thing? And I'm like, it's kind of like the devil's in the details. Like, we got to look at the details. That's where a lot of problems are emerging. And that's kind of the bedrock that's polluting the whole system. I'd say my husband and I talk a lot about different relationship trends. I bring up a lot of things. But actually, he came up with a thing that's been the most effective, and that's having weekly meetings to get on the same page with our schedule, to look things over, to discuss what's going on. I feel like his soccer coach, like, kind of is in charge of, different teams and keeping everyone on the same page. And him bringing that into a relationship has actually really helped me feel like we are more coming together and collaborating a bit more than when we were both managing our own schedules. And I find that this is often true, that men use their skills of organization and communication and team cohesion at work, and they don't bring those skills home. And so I tell men a lot that however you're being successful at work, you need to bring some of those pieces into your home life as well. Not because your partner's going to be managed, but this is kind of a business we're running together. And how do we run this business effectively and efficiently? And if the two co-owners are never talking, that business is going to be so confusing and a mess. And somebody's going to take on more responsibility. It's like whoever knows is in charge versus both people knowing and actually delegating from a centered, collected, like who has the bandwidth to handle this versus who knows about handles